RIP version 2 authentication. This is the same lab that we used it for RIP configuration. On this lab, what we're going to configure, you and I, is we will configure authentication keys here. So when obviously the neighbor relationship will not be formed if one of the interfaces have an authentication enabled and on the other interface there is no authentication, or there is a wrong authentication, which we will demonstrate. But on this lab we will create authentication. This is how you do it. We need to console in to the routers. Obviously you already did that, and we are in the same place where we left off last lab. So just to verify it, show IP route. Let's see our neighbor, and we have a neighbor which is R. R stands for, if you look at the key in here, the key codes, R stands for RIP. So we have a neighbor, and all these addresses, class B addresses, has been advertised for us. So if we go to R2 and show IP route, we will see we have a lot of neighbors as well in here. This is class C addresses, so it advertised 5 addresses for us. If you look at it here, we have /24, but RIP is a classful protocol, so all it sees is just the full all it sees is /16 instead of /24. Okay, so let's try to ping one of the addresses in R2. Okay, I'm going to pick this one. Okay, so ping 192.16.1.1. we have a full reachability, and if we go to R2 we can ping the other side 192.168.1.1, full reachability. So what we need is we need to authenticate. The neighbor relationship will be much more secure. Here's how we do it. Okay, so let's go to global configuration mode first on R1, and we need to create keys. So this is the command you use, key chain, and you need to name your key. So I will name my key RIP key and press enter. You need to choose how many keys, so we will say 1 key and key string. Okay, so my key string will be ABH123, and that's all I need. I will exit from there, exit to global configuration mode. I have created my keys here. Let's go to R2 and create the same keys. We go into global configuration mode, keychain, and we need to create RIP key. Make sure they are the same. Key 1 and key string is ABH. Make sure they are the same, identical, and exit from here, exit from here. Now we created the keychain. You can create keys all day long. If you don't apply it, they will not be functioning. So let's go back to R1, because I like to go in order, and apply this key on the interface. So we will apply our authentication here and here. If one of the routers cannot authenticate, there will not be any neighbor relationship. Okay, so let's do that. We are in R1 global configuration mode. We need to go inside the interface, and the first command we use is ibrip authentication keychain, and make sure that is identical, the keychain that you're writing down, and press enter. And again, ibrip authentication mode, and you need to choose which mode you want to use. You want to use MD5 or clear text. So guys, MD5, that's hash, that's much more secure. Okay, so we need to go to R1, and actually if we debug it now, there were neighbors before. Debug ibrip we will see a lot of failed authentication. You see invalid authentication, we will see that. So what we need is we need to, yeah, let me undo this. That's how you disable, by the way, all debugs, you all. So we see here that it cannot authenticate R2, cannot authenticate R1 because R1 have authentication here. So we need to have the identical configuration on R2 interface. So if we go to global configuration mode, inside the interface 0/0, press enter, and IBRIP authentication keychain, and we need to make sure that we're writing down the keychain exactly as the way we put it in before. IBRIP again, authentication mode, we need to make sure that we're using the same mode as well, and we will not see that error anymore. We will not see that, so you can see it. So in case you see that error, all you can do is you can clear the routing table. So RIP is just both routers are just keep updating each other back and forth. So that is good sign. Show IP, yeah, so you can see it receives authentication MD5. That's what I was waiting for, so that's good. Let me just undo this because it's keep scrolling up and we will not be able to do anything if debugs on. Show IP route, you can see we still have our neighbor relationship, and if you look at the messages you can actually read it, and it will show you that, as we've seen before earlier, it was saying there's no authentication. If we go up, fail, invalid authentication. Now once we configure the authentication, if you look at it, where is it? I've seen it, yeah, it means it received the authentication. This is all these messages, by the way, are RIP just updating each other and just telling each other, okay, here's my routing table, and router 2 will say here's my routing table, and router 1, they just sending messages back and forth. So that's actually good to know. You can take your time with it and read through it, you will understand more. That's all about it. Thanks for watching.